Congratulations on season 28.
Yes.
That's, still to this day, it's still like kind of wild that we've almost 30 years
It's wild.
on the air.
Like 90s, the aughts, the teens,
Yeah.
the 20s. It's spanned 4 different decades.
SVU has remained
It's
a
crazy.
constant. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And unheard of.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
historical.
I know. Very grateful.
Obviously, sort of going into season 28, do you think Rollins feels settled back at SVU for the long haul?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I do think so. I think there's always a part of her that needs to keep moving. Yeah. So settled when you say that, I'm like, no, she's never settled. But I think she has a good home base finally. She has a good relationship she can fall back on. She has somebody that's stable, that loves her, that they can say, hey, it's okay. It's okay to sit still.
Yeah.
It's okay to be back here. And so that's a really cool aspect of her to play, because she's always been like kind of so impulsive.
Right. Pick up and go, but like there's a groundedness.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean like fully, completely rooted, but there's a groundedness there. Obviously, we'll get to some crazy stuff, but the Rollins-Benson dynamic obviously is so, important to the show as a whole. How do you think Rollins and Benson's relationship has grown and evolved in your mind through the years?
It's been completely organic over the years. They didn't squash us together and say, hey, you guys are both girls, so you're going to like each other. They didn't do that. Like we were both strong female characters on the show. And we found our way to trusting each other, to relying on each other, to seeing a mirror of ourselves in each other. They're both moms, working moms. And so all of those things kind of it was built, just layer by layer by layer. It wasn't like, okay, so this is who you guys are to each other. It's just like, okay, let's see over the years. And that's how mine and Mariska's relationship has been in real life. It wasn't like, hi, bestie. It wasn't that. It was like, hey, and now there's no one I adore more in life and can count on and rely on. And I celebrate her, and I can't wait to go see her in Every Brilliant Thing.
Oh my gosh.
My girl's on Broadway right now. So there's no one I'd love to cheer for more. And she's the same with me. And I can't wait. That's the delicious part about coming back to SVU is that relationship.
Yeah.
Because it's not, they're not always going to agree. They're coming from different sides, addressing the same problem, but they don't have the same perspective. They didn't have the same life. They didn't have, so it's interesting. It makes it interesting.
And I think that that's important because like sometimes, especially when you work with a friend, like your perspective is different. And it's like, you need that kind of tension at certain times that makes you better. And that helps like make your relationship stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, so that was a big part of why I was excited to come back to the show. And also we have our first female showrunner in season 27. Incredibly, the first one. So that was very enticing to me, knowing that it's a female forward show. And we have someone now at the helm that's a female, and then also our first female producing director. So Brenna Malloy came in and directed, I think 3 episodes, and there's no one I love to work with more. And I've learned so much from her already. So it's really exciting. It's really invigorating that they're kind of putting their money where their mouth is, and saying, yeah, that should be who's in charge here. So,
and even after 25 years, more than 25 seasons, it still feels fresh. We're still finding ways to innovate and, grow behind the camera and in front of the camera as well. With season 28, obviously, we've had a lot of time with Rollins over the years. Is there anything that you are excited to explore with her that maybe we haven't tapped into or maybe want to tap into a little bit more?
I think her leadership role on in the squad room, I think is interesting. And exploring that groundedness. What does that manifest itself in terms of like ordering her life and how she relates to, to the other detectives in the squad room. So that's a fun thing. She hasn't been here before,
Yeah. I was doing some research last night, and I know that you were a different character for one episode before you joined as Rollins. But your first appearance as Rollins was in September of 2011. So this year will mark 15 years since your first, your debut as Rollins.
Crazy.
Do you remember that first episode?
Absolutely.
Just that whole sort of re-entry into the SVU world.
Absolutely. They'd said Chris Maloney was leaving. And I was like, oh, I thought that was kind of the show, him and Mariska, that relationship, that camaraderie. So I was like, maybe this show has a couple more years. So now we're 15 years later. And I'm so happy that Rollins has found a solid place in that family. But yes, I so remember that. It was crazy because I was just finishing up a film in LA. The night before I came to New York to shoot my first day on SVU, and I'd gotten shot in a movie, and there was blood all in my hair and stuff, and I had to take a trailer shower, in a trailer. So, trying to get all the blood out. I took a red eye, showed up on set at 7 a.m. or whatever, and the hair and makeup people were like, "You still have blood," I was like, "I tried my best," right. Let's just get through it. And my first scene was with Ice, and he was awesome, and he's so Ice. His first thing he said to me was like, "You do you, boo." And I was like, all right, perfect, and we're gonna work together just fine.
And the rest is history.
Yeah,
and that's that kind of. I know it's happened a couple of times, but it is rare to have played a role and then to come back as a new character that then has this history and this sort of legacy that we see now.
Well, and I was super lucky too because it was Warren Light, I think, that had thought of me. They got a new showrunner the year that I came on as well. And I had met Warren, I think, when I was 18 at a playwriting conference in the middle of nowhere, Indiana. And we had, he'd kind of just always remembered me. And then to get that call from him and kind of create this character from the ground up, I was telling my husband, I said, Rollins was originally from Pittsburgh or something. And I said to Warren, I was like, let's just make her from Georgia. Yeah. I've already got that accent. Let's just go with that. I'm going to be doing this day in, day out. So we even talked about the gambling addiction in the very first initial conversations I had with him about the character and what she could be. So it was really, really fun to come up with something like that with an amazing writer like Warren.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, happy 15 years this
thank
September. Rollins and Carisi were, a very stable part of season 27. What stands out to you about where their relationship is now, and what are you excited to explore with them?
They've got these 3 kids, and it's a lot.
Busy house. Yeah.
That's a lot. But she gets to be loved. She gets to be grounded. She gets to have something that she's never had. She didn't grow up with stability. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. We don't show it a lot, I think, because filming with kids is very hard, to be honest. Yeah. But they've got that family there, and then the family in the squad room.
With them, is there a moment, even looking back to the beginning of their sort of relationship that really sort of you think captures their essence as a pair?
Well, the funnest episode we got to do this year was the break-in, and how they worked as a team just in that moment, okay, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that. And they didn't say a word. So that was, and then, Rollins goes running off to chase the bad guy. So that was really illustrated, their faith in each other, their trust in each other, and how much they love each other.
And I think that's so, obviously you get to work with Mariska and Ice, and Carisi, that establishing all of those different kinds of dynamics, I think, is so important to just who Rollins is as a whole. Yeah. And mining through different aspects of those kinds of relationships,
Absolutely.
Working partnerships, romantic partnerships, friendships, all of that. How does Rollins feel about Griffin being with SVU after the finale?
I think it was fun to play her looking at Griffin sideways and being like, I'm watching you. And then, she sees how much he cares and what a good job he did on several different cases throughout the season. So, I think he's gained some of her trust. So I think she's happy.
Retiring came up for both Benson and Finn and has been ruled out, for now. Mm-hmm. But do you think Rollins has ever imagined a time when maybe one or either will not be a part of SVU?
No.
Yeah.
No. We need both of them.
So to follow up with that, who would Rollins want to be her captain if that day ever came? No, there's no.
It's that's the structure of it now is, and Finn got to play captain in one of the episodes. And I was like, look at him, like, I know he's pretty good at it, but don't tell him that, and that was fun to play, and watching Ice kind of get to embrace that role was fun to watch. So it's, how many captains have I worked for now? Like it's been a few. Yeah. But in the original one, I was speaking about him earlier today, Dan Florek.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore. I love him. And now his character passed away this season. I was like,
no, I was shocked.
When I read the script, I was like, no, because I just love him so much. And, now there's no chance of him coming back to visit.
Look, flashback.
There you go. I like how you think.
And plus, it was so crazy for me, at least this season, to see him on The Pit as just a different character. I was like, that's Cragen. That's Cragen. Yes. He was brilliant. But I'm like, that's Cragen.
Yeah.
Like that. I can't see him as anybody else, but he was tremendous in the episode. But like, I was just like, oh, makes me miss him more.
Yeah.
Season 28, that we're nearing season 30. Do you see the show making it there?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a huge milestone, and Dick Wolf wants it, and I think Mariska wants it, and when those two people want something, it gets done.
I mean, I feel like SVU, and it's kind of crazy when you think about it, because we live in a world where everything's streaming or not streaming, and then there's so much to watch, there's so much option. SVU has remained a part of the conversation for decades. And that is a feat in and of itself. Like, it's just everybody knows what SVU is.
Yeah.
And not many shows, if any, other than SVU can say that.
Yeah. What's really cool is when the assistant coach of the Knicks comes up to you and says, I love your show. I've been watching it since very start. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then his son, Jalen Brunson. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
I'm so happy. But it's crazy, the gamut of people that watch the show. What I love most of all is that it's a generational thing.
Yes.
It's so many times it's like, I watched that with my grandmama. I watched that with my mom. I watched, oh my God, I can't believe I'm seeing you in the subway. My mom's going to freak out. Like, I get that so many times, or, my sister or my daughter's going to freak out that, it's just like, it's a family thing. And even Jamie calls it SVU. Somebody I work with, like her and her dad catch up, and he calls it, did you watch SVU? Which I'd never heard of.
I'd never heard that either.
No. Let's get it going.
Speaking of the Knicks, if you could have any player
finals
on SVU.
Oh, don't make me pick. I mean, it's Brunson, captain.
Okay.
But let Mariska have that. And then, because they're both captains in New York.
Oh, yes.
So I think that they should. But I love Hart. I love me some Mitchell Robinson. Let's
get them all.
I know.
Why not?
I would love that.
Have we ever had an SVU episode set it? Like a Knicks game or something?
No, we've had a basketball star, but we haven't.
I feel like we could make this happen.
I think we should. Yes.
Is someone writing this down? I know. We're going to get the Knicks on SVU season 28, 29,
God,
possibly 30.
I would love that.
And if they win the series, like, let's go. Like, anything's possible.
Yeah.